Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk bottom tier medium gameplay, my friends. Glacier. Where do you go with the bottom tier medium? I think you generally go where your top tier mediums go, but you have to be careful. And that changes by a bit by mode, a bit by map, and potentially layout and things like that. But you're really a bottom feeder here as a bottom tier medium. The good news is you've got some mobility potentially, so use that to the best capability. Try not to tangle with their high tier mediums more than you have to, and obviously don't jump out in front of their heavies, that kind of thing. That being said, then you're going to be quite careful. Here we are on Glacier, and so I'm going to take this to a place where you would probably take your top tier mediums. And I really expect to be opposed by some fairly tough tanks, potentially. Although there are a lot of TDs here. There's a lot of heavies. And as I looked at it, I said, well, maybe the Kunze. I wouldn't expect the Bat Chat. If the Bat Chat came up and over, he could shred me, but he probably dies doing that. So I don't expect that. But I really expect as I go to this position, which is a very critical piece of this terrain, to maybe run into the Bat Chat, not the Bat Chat, but the Kunze-Panzer, because it's just got that really good gun depression, hydraulic action going on. So let's see how this game develops. We got the 432 going that way. Have an RHM PZW headed over to the ramp. There's often a fight for the ramp and somebody trying to get up the middle. We've got a Progetto coming in here with me and the requisite campers and whatnot. One of the dangers of this position, though, is obviously the south part. If they get wrapped around or the enemy pushes through too far, you can get into a crossfire right there and it can be difficult. But let's see how the whole thing develops. And I like to come here because I can maybe get shots on people. I wasn't quite there in time. I did get lit, so let's not stay there while lit. And there's the Barask. And I back out, and I really didn't see what was going on the hill right there until quite late. Sort of ignoring it, as a matter of fact. I think I had a shot on the 13105 that I just basically missed. Take a stab at it. He was well past. So there are light tanks running around. The Senlac. We got the Barask. There's somebody moving right there. And you just got to be careful about poking up too much, and especially if you're lit coming up and over, because guys will zoom in and be ready to hit you. There's the Kunze, kind of where I would expect him to be, either over where I am or where he is. So what do we have going on? We got a Barask, we have a Senlac, we have the Kunze and the 1390, along with me, the G-Sword, the Progetto 65, which is a pretty big advantage, and look at this 263 has moved up, which is very nice. Notice no artillery. So one of the problems with these spots on the back edge of this is obviously if there's a lot of artillery, you can get beat up, and as a bottom tier medium, getting shot at by tier 10 or tier 9 artillery can be very painful. Also, I'm watching the south. So for the moment, we have guys forward, although one's only a Shrek. And the G-Sword is in a very interesting position there. But for the moment, I know nobody's going to shoot me in the side if I back out. So everything's actually looking pretty good. No arty. They haven't wrapped around the south to crossfire me. Looks like we actually got the hill, and we beat up their 13105 doing it. We lost our 432. So for the moment, everything's looking fairly copacetic. So now I'm just kind of doing the spotting thing. Come up, take a look, what's going on. I also like what I see over on the heavy area because we have a 279 early, E75, and a Lorraine 50T who seem to be in pretty good position up there. As a matter of fact, if you look at map control, we've really kind of stuffed them into about 1/3 to 1/4 of the map. 1/3, I suppose, is probably the best way to say it. Now, I did get lit there, so let's not pop up there. There's no reason after being lit to jump up, even if you've got a shot. There's so many guns left in the game, so we'll come over this way and look for a shot on this dude. It's very difficult to find the firing lanes over there. There's so many rocks and raised areas along that road up there, but you can find them if you're careful. That didn't work, so let's just back out. I'm going to keep backing out until I know I'm not lit, right? So I got 3 seconds. I can back up 3 seconds. There goes that guy. I can back up for 3 seconds. If my bulb doesn't go off, then I can start moving forward again. I know I'm not lit. But I do that when I make that big push, just to be a bit careful. We get one in there, we'll back out, courtesy defense. No, okay, come back up while I'm reloading. See that? About 3 seconds. No, I'm not lit. Put another shot in that guy. Notice I did go to APCR just to get a little more oomph in there into the side of the Malshin. And he pushes up, and I think he actually sort of hides here. Don't quite get there in time, okay. So let's take stock of what's going on. We've actually filtered in a little bit more. The Progetto's doing good work right there. And although it looks even tanks-wise, relatively, I like our positioning. We're in really good spots, and we've beat them in the north. So Our heavies do have to be careful about pushing into the firing zones right there. But if we're careful, we can start wrapping around and taking shots. And this critical position right here is unopposed. How long have I been poking up and down here, so to speak, without one of them coming over to take a look and try to deal with this? Quite a long time. So we get a shot on him. I did get lit. I think if I had that to do again, I would prioritize the 1390. But I believe I'm going to get him here because he's still raging around out in the open. He kind of makes a mistake doing the same thing here, so we'll just go out in front, take that shot, and get rid of him. So fantastic. So even though I think my shot priority should have been him, I get away with it and I kill him anyway. Not quite. We'll back out. All right, now it's getting a little dangerous here, right? We got a Barask. The Char's been a little bit foolish. Kind of got into that spot there. The Barask is jumping on him, and you notice that there are TD snipers at the F8 or so, which is where the Shrek is. So this position, it seems like it's easy to sneak up here, and to some extent it is, but if somebody's in that spot where the Shrek is, it can be extremely dangerous. So I'm just watching the Char, and he appears to be on a reload from what I can tell. He's not shooting anything. The RHM did kill the Shrek, which was nice, and now I've got this ST2 with side shots. And that's why this position is so dangerous to the purple team. If nobody's over here keeping me honest, I did get lit that time, but not until I came up and fired. That shot came in, so I'm thinking the 252. So now when I get lit, and that's an example of what I'm talking about. Look at the angle. Like, I don't even know. Okay, he's above the G-Sword. That's right. He's killed our, I think it was a Shrek that was up there. He's above the G-Sword. G-Sword's not lighting him, so he's actually to the right of the G-Sword with a good crossfire on me. And that's what I'm talking about for this position. Well, it's a pretty good controlling position. Now I'm in a little bit of trouble if I have to back down too much. But really, the enemy team's running out of tanks to do this, to deal with me. They're all kind of locked down where they are, so unlikely that they could get here. Big mistake by them ignoring this position completely. If they just had somebody poking and prodding over here, they would have neutralized what I was trying to do to a large extent. So the Kunza dies. I'm able to come up and over much further than I would think. There are tanks moving around. There is a Barask. There is a Senlak, which I'm a little bit fascinated on what he's doing. I mean, literally, if he was just moving around this middle area a little bit, he might be doing some really good work for his team. Progetto dies, a little bit of an unwise poke, because we're talking about a CC Mark 1 and 2 Sturves, although we just hit one of them. You can disintegrate quickly against those kinds of tanks in this situation if you're not careful. And again, we have an advantage, but it's not huge. Most of our advantage is in positioning. We have a 2-tank advantage, but most of our advantage right now is in positioning. We just hold better ground than they do. 252U comes in. Bit of a hasty shot, but I know the terrain is just difficult. I don't know it well enough from this position. I don't know if anybody does. It's really hard to see what you can hit and what you can't hit. And I think here, I don't know if I make the push now or in a little bit. I really think that 252U is going to die. Look how many tanks are around him right there. Here comes the G-Sword. I'm not really worried about that push. The only thing that could make that really dangerous for us is potentially, actually get a shot on him and he shoots me back, but somehow I bounce the shot. He's cursing. Potentially he lights guys up and some of our guys get killed by their snipers. Alright, that was a huge 2 kills. The 252U is now gone, so we don't have to worry about him over on the side of the map. And then the Barask dies, which is a guy that has a lot of good vision and speed. So the only thing really keeping them in it at this point is either the Bat Chat, the Senlak, or a foolish push into all of the TDs. So if we're careful and start picking them apart, then we can start using all this great terrain. We've more or less owned the whole game. And really, this game boils down to the fact that we just had better control of the terrain. They didn't play too badly, the enemy team. They hurt some of us. They took some of us down. It is not by any means a complete win by now, but now is the noose is closing in on these guys at this point. So bad terrain control at the beginning, bad positioning on their part, and then just a slow grind, grabbing a little bit more of those positions, and now they're just in big old trouble. I was really hoping to find that ST2 over there. I noticed the G-Sword is up on the hill, so there's no TD sitting in this spot. That's a huge advantage, because now we can use these bushes to spot coming up here. I'm looking at it going, okay, how do we break this down, right? How do I How do I take this bottom tier, tier 8 medium, and break this thing down just a bit? The Senlac, he hasn't been spotted, so I'm pretty sure he's not over here. I think he's fallen back. He's up in the bushes up here somewhere. The ST2 is a problem. He is down in the bottom, but and then the Malshin potentially, but I think I can move across the bottom of this, and if we can get some crossfire on these guys down the pit, clear the guys out of the pit, and then we can start moving up the hill and taking the rest of them out. I just wanted to take a look in case the Shrek had bad spotting. All right. Oh, good. There's the Malshin. Maybe we have some shots on him. Let's come around here and take a look. And, oh, very nice. Very nice. He thinks he's all nice and safe there. I'm really waiting for the Shrek to pop out in front of me. Curious if I was going to get spotted. I should have known I wasn't. Look at the circle. It's outside the circle for him. Although the ST2 could have moved forward, or maybe the Senlac's in a weird spot, but it doesn't look that way. So come around here, and now I'm thinking, all right, let's go down into the pit, and we can head for this rock, try to get up behind it. That way we can cover up against the Malshin. Then we can put the Malshin in a crossfire with the Object, Lorraine, and G-Sor. And I think the G-Sor is actually up. I actually get seen by that guy, so that's nice he missed. There's the Malshin. We'll come up. I'm getting some spotting. That works for me. Down he goes. Very nice. That's a bunch of spotting. Gets me up to 12. There's the ST2. I think he's looking at me, and then when he starts moving, that's when I'll pop out. And we get rid of him. That's very important, by the way, guys, if you're talking about dispersion and trying to minimize the amount of risk you're taking on a trade. Someone staring at you at the still with the turret pointing at you, that's a much different idea than here comes the Senlac. That's a much different idea than if they're moving. We're just going to follow this dude. He's making a runner. Put another shot on him. See if we can get a ram. He actually misses because he got tracked. We knock him out. And then I'm looking at the Malshin going, uh-oh. Is he staring at me? Nope. He's so busy with the other heavies. Backs out. Should have gone for the turret. The back of the turret instead of the back armor right there. Don't know if I get... Yeah, he's sort of thinking about shooting me now. There we go. We'll back out of this. Back, 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 back. Use the cover. 279 early's pushing in on him. Down he goes, and it's just the Bat Chat hanging out in the back. Pretty much the end of it, my friends. So 2,902 damage. I don't think I get this shot, do I? Almost. I think I almost did. 2,623 assist. 180 bounced. Although I think one of them got into my tracks for a no damage critical kind of thing. And I think a pretty good example of using your bottom tier medium, going to an important spot. So really, it's map and mode dependent and somewhat which tank you're in. But with this particular medium and most tier 8 mediums, if you're bottom tier in a game like this, go to where more or less the mediums go. You may want to be a little more careful. And obviously, if you go there and nobody else shows up and you're worried about meeting their tier 10 mediums, then change your mind and reposition a little bit. But as in general, in a map like this where you can get there safely and then start working with cover, as long as you understand the position you're in, go to those places and see what's going on. And in the case of this game, I got to this critical terrain and they just weren't there. They didn't show up. They were there for a couple potatoes and I was just able to use it most of the game, other than a couple times when we talked about where I got spotted and then they had a guy, the 252U in particular, had those cross shots on me. So it can get uncomfortable there if we start losing over there in the southeast, but we didn't. So just watch it as it goes, as it develops, keep using it, and then take your opportunity to move forward. And if you've maintained your votes, which I had, particularly had a decent amount of hit points, then you can actually get up underneath and let your snipers take shots. And then you're grabbing a decent amount of assist with your nice little medium tank. So 2,600 at tier 8, I'll take that any day with 2,900 dropped, absolutely. So there you go. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Thanks for coming and checking out the video. I'd appreciate a subscribe if you like it. And that's all I've got for today. We will see you.